The depths of the Under Empire are host to millions, perhaps even billions, of Skaven. Most of the Rat Men are nothing more than slaves, beings whose existence is spent making sure that the latest Ratling guns are as effective as the last batch, tiring the front lines of the foe before the real warriors step in, or being used to further one of the many diabolical experiments being worked on deep underground. For the vast majority of Skaven, life isn't great, but for the 0.01%, those who lucked out at birth, they have the chance to make a name for themselves in as many years as most humans take to come out of adolescence. Hello, ghouls and gals. Today, first I'd like to apologise for my voice as I appear to have lost it, but in this video we're talking about one of those 1 in a million Skaven, a warrior known as Queek Headtaker, warlord of Clan Moors, and perhaps the greatest warrior that ever lived among the rat folk. Queek was born into the breeding pits of Clan Moors. Most Skaven enter the world this way, but few are like Queek. He and his brothers were of black fur, marking them to be great warriors, larger than most Skaven. Queek was already bigger than his brothers at birth, who he devoured before his eyes had even fully opened. This caught the eye of Nordell, leader of Clan Moors, who picked out Queek among the breeding pits, and desired to groom him to be the ultimate Skaven warrior. From his birth, Queek was given every luxury for him to fulfill that purpose. As Nordell's protege, Queek was allowed the finest food, training with Nordell's personal guard, the best armour and weapons, and protection from other Skaven clan lords. Skaven life isn't easy though, and you can't make a warrior out of a spoiled brat, and so Nordell made sure to keep Queek on his toes. He would send assassins after Queek, disguising them as members of other clans so as not to raise suspicion. Each time, Queek killed his attacker, which only further impressed Nordell. For 4 years, Queek was honed into the ultimate weapon. He grew to be incredibly large, even for a black Skaven. If you or I were to be put in 4 years of extensive training, we'd probably grow to hate the life that we led, and wouldn't really feel like being the ultimate warrior anymore. Our dear Queeky didn't have such doubts though, as his personality meant he had a natural ego and bloodlust. He wanted to be the best and was willing to kill whoever he had to in order to prove it. Queek's ego didn't mean he wanted to take over Clan Moors, however. Actually, Clan Moors is really the only Skaven clan that doesn't have its people constantly trying to overthrow their lord. Nordell is, at least by rumour, a fair enough leader by Skaven standards, and even has others joining his retinue from other clans. Some believe this is sorcery from the Lord, while others think the Skaven there are being drugged. Either way, Clan Moors is a strong power among the Council of 13. It's not enough to challenge the 4 great clans, but with its military might, it has enough troops for Nordell to remain somewhat of a concern to them. But we're getting a bit off topic there. All you need to know is that Queek does not plot his master's demise, at least not as much as most Skaven do. Instead, he's quite happy being one of the greatest fighters in the Under Empire. By the time he is 4, he's let loose on the World's Edge Mountains, and instantly makes a name for himself when he leads an assault against the Greenskin stronghold of Black Crag. Queek led from the front, as he is always known to do, fighting his way through until he met Morgan Blacktooth in combat. Queek killed the big boss, taking his head as the rat's first trophy and placing it upon his back. In time, he would add other skulls to a large, arch-like banner on his armour, but for now he just had Blacktooth, who began to whisper to Queek. Yes, that's right. A skull began to whisper to our dear Queeky. No, this wasn't some necromancer playing a prank on the rat, nor was it Morglum uttering a few words before he passed. None but Queek could hear these whispers, and yet he acknowledged them all the same. Queek was, let's say, not always right in the head. As we've said, he was egotistical, quick to anger, and unlike most Skaven in a lot of ways. Speaking with his trophies was just another one of his quirks. They always say geniuses aren't like the rest of us after all, and Queek was a genius when it came to murder. Morglum's whispers guided Queek to Dwarf Gouger, the warpick he would later wield as his own signature weapon. He used that weapon to make a name for himself as a ruthless and effective leader. Queek won many victories, which was doubly impressive when you consider he had a distaste for scheming, and often preferred to just run straight at his opponents and defeat them in open combat. Warlord Icket Scratch was the next trophy that Queek added to his rack. Warlord of Fester Spike, the traitor Skaven, Icket saw that even though Queek didn't like scheming, sometimes he could be cunning in his own way. Queek tricked Scratch into thinning his own battle lines before spearheading straight into Fester Spike. Basically, it was just another frontal charge, but with extra steps. This victory not only earned Queek another trophy, but it also wins him command as warlord of the City of Pillars, where he spends most of his time trying to win the 8 Peaks from Belegar Ironhammer and Skarsnik. Queek isn't locked up in the 8 Peaks forever, mind you, and he has other trophies to collect. As well as Blacktooth and Scratch, Queek also collects the heads of King Krug Ironhand of Karak Draz, Albrecht Kraus of Averland, and many others. As we'll get to, he does hold one as a truly prized possession, but often keeps the counsel of all of them. There's almost a respect from Queek to the trophies he keeps. They can taunt him, mock him, advise him, and he listens to it all, treating them as his most trusted allies. Without these trophies, you could argue that Queek is quite the boring character. There may not be a lot of good duelists among the Skaven ranks, but in Warhammer as a whole, there's an overabundance of them. However, with his skulls whispering sweet nothings in his ear, Queek is a rat worth remembering, even if he only lived in the world for around 9 years. But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. There's plenty more great deeds that Queek saw in his honestly quite short life. After gaining his position as warlord of Clan Moors, Queek set out to proving he was the strongest warlord around. Every Skaven believes themselves to be the best, but very few can back it up. Queek could do just that, even if not every battle he engaged was a winner. During the assault against the dwarves of Karak Ankle, Queek wished to rush straight ahead and face the dwarves head on, but Thanquol, the cunning grey seer that he is, believed a better course of action would be to circumvent the army and take the dwarf hold while it was undefended. Queek is headstrong, as we know, but he's not impossible to convince, and so he went along with the plan, pushing past the non-existent opposition until he met a larger army in the upper deeps. This was a huge dwarf host, one that Queek was not quite sure he could beat. To completely ensure victory, he grabbed Thanquol by the neck and ordered that he summon a Vermin Lord to help them. A Vermin Lord is basically like a greater demon of the Horned Rat, and so Thanquol got to work on a ritual to bring this being into existence. As is the case with pretty much anything that has the Thanquol seal of approval on it, the ritual was a complete failure. Instead of bringing a Vermin Lord to battle, Thanquol summoned Scarbrand. Queek is a great warrior, but he's not that great, and so seeing the greater demon of Khorne, he called it quits, leaving the battlefield to fight another day. Nordel still showed great favour towards Queek though, giving him an invasion horde of 100,000 Skaven to destroy the great runic weapons stores in Karak Azul. Queek teamed up with the veteran warlord Sleek Sharpwit and the grey seer Razel, but neither of them could tame his boldness, and his wish to dive straight at the heart of the enemy lost them the day. But this wasn't the end for old Sleeky, who managed to pull together a master plan that could still win the Skaven Karak Azul. Queek needed to be sacrificed in the effort, and Sleek led our warrior to Black Crag, hoping that through his actions they could begin a war between the orcs and the dwarves. Queek was thrust into battle against the Green Tide, where he faced off with the legendary orc warrior Gorfang Rotgut. Sadly, Queek did not get to add Rotgut's head to his collection, but when the army of Karak Azul was lured into battle, spending its stores of runic weapons in a costly fight, Queek had accomplished his mission by reducing the amount of weapons in the stores. But it was all because of Sharpwit's scheming that could have got Queek killed, that victory was even achieved. Queek and Sleek met once more, where our hero wished for the old warlord to pay for his manipulation. Sharpwit fought Queek to a standstill thanks to the help of Warpstone, but old age got the better of him in time, and he collapsed in a heap after a while. Queek took Sharpwit's head, and he values the old warlord greatly as an advisor as he moves forward. As I said before though, Queek's main goal throughout the entirety of Warhammer is to fight off Skarsnik and Belegar Ironhammer to eventually take control of Karak 8 Peaks, something he doesn't get the chance to do until the end times roll around. Belegar Ironhammer is weak, the Vermintide is wreaking havoc on all the other dwarf holds, so he cannot get reinforcements. If it wasn't for Skarsnik, who maintains a strong army in the 8 Peaks, Queek could have walked in without a problem. Still, he has the numbers advantage, by at least 10 times the amount of the Greenskin horde. Every dwarf killed means one less to defend their home. Queek is aging though, his madness grows, his trophies begin to doubt his skill, even as he remains the strongest warrior Clan Moors has. He makes mistakes, allows some dwarves to slip away, is pushed back by the arrival of ogre mercenaries, but still, all Belegar can do is prolong the inevitable. It's a battle between the Greenskins and the Skaven really, one that comes to a head at a pass between the mountains. Skarsnik catches Queek off guard, ambushing his army with a pincer manoeuvre. As a rogue idol tears through Queek's lines, it feels as if Skarsnik has won the day early. Then, from the mountains comes the rest of the Skaven. It was Skarsnik who was really outmatched, and as he loses Gobbler, his shaman and his army to the sheer weight of the rats, he retreats. He leaves one last trick for the Skaven before he leaves for good, But this is Queek's story, not Skarsneck's, and so we won't go into detail on that. Queek meets Belgar Ironhammer in one final duel. The dwarf does what he can, but even at the lofty age of 9, Queek is still able to best him easily, and so the rats win the 8 peaks. But the fight doesn't end for Queek there. There's still one more dwarf hole to wipe out, Karaz Akarak. Here, Queek meets a match unlike any other in Thorgrim Grudgebearer. Powered by the ancestor gods and the power of an incarnate, Thorgrim meets Queek, who charges at him straight away. Catching the rat in mid-air, Thorgrim chokes the life out of Queek while reciting numerous grudges. From Queek's back, the trophy rack is broken and left on the floor, his advisors gasping with relief as they're finally freed. Queek breaks his claws on the armour of Thorgrim before his neck is broken and his lifeless body is left on the floor. And so ends Queek Headtaker. If one was to describe his personality, it's often stated he'd be most akin to a powder keg. Queek would take no bribes, he saw little reason, and was intellectually quite blunt. Even so, he was a great warrior, leading Clan Moors to victory after victory with his Red Guard. He's an odd little Skaven, in more than just him speaking to skulls on his back, as he stands apart as not being sneaky or tricksy, but just good at fighting. It's a shame he never really left the World's Edge Mountains, as it would have been interesting to see how he stacked up against Elven, Lizardmen and Empire duelists. But what do you think of Queek? Who do you want to see next? Let me know that and more down below. But as always, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you again soon, hopefully with a nicer voice.